You are a powerful manifestor right now on today's Obleron Divination. Greetings everyone, I'm Obleron, Lord of the Underworld and consort to the most lovely Hecate. Thank you for joining me on today's elemental synastry reading. It is a divination technique which was gifted to me by the goddess upon our sacred marriage, and it involves the tarot, the 5 elements, and astrology. Now this is a timeless collective reading, so take what resonates and discard what doesn't. And as always, make sure to use tarot as a confirmation for what you already intuitively know, and do not take it as literal advice. And if you do happen to resonate with today's message, then feel free to let us all know with a like, subscribe, or a comment. Thank you very much. So I draw a tarot card to see what is influencing that particular element. And the first element that we start off with is the element of spirit, which is represented by the bell. And we have drawn the star. Okay, so we have lots of good things on the horizon. We have a lot of hope. We have a lot of things which is about to manifest in spirit. A lot of potential energy which is building up. And if you look at my spiritual channel as well as some of my past divination readings, that seems to be the common theme within the past couple of weeks, especially being the beginning of the year 2026. We're now going firmly into the year of the fire horse, and yeah, a lot of people feel that there is something which is about to happen, that there is just all kinds of positivity which is coming in, a complete change of energy. It's like this potential rush of this feel-good energy, and I'm not the only reader to emphasize this. And it's like I said, it's been a very common theme recently, and so to have this in the element of spirit is a very uplifting message. I think it's interesting because over the last couple of readings, we've been getting a lot of Ten of Wands, a lot of Ten of Swords type of energy popping in, which indicates the end of the cycle. And now we are firmly at that end, and we are with the past being cleared, with all that sort of gunk which has been eradicated. We're now able to really kind of stand in the clear and be able to really embrace what's coming to us. So very positive start to this, and I'm very curious to see what the rest of the reading is going to be. So I use the astrology die to distinguish what is the advice or the likely outcome. And what we have is Mars in Taurus in the 7th house. Okay. Very interesting so far. Okay. So let me line this up. So I roll once for the house, and I roll a second time for the decan. Alright. And we get another 7, which means we are in that middle decan of Taurus. Okay. Very interesting. So yeah, that Mars in Taurus, it's actually especially with it being in Libra, it is suggesting that there is going to be a lot of passion. There is going to be a lot of creative energies coming into our lives, and with it also being in Libra, it could suggest that it would be funneled into perhaps our relationships and our interpersonal relationships. Now Libra could mean a marriage, it could mean or it could also mean people that we have, let's say, an equal footing with. And that Mars in Taurus, especially that middle decan of Taurus, the Lord of material success, it's a very fortuitous placement. Mars in Taurus in astrology is one of the most coveted aspects when we are looking for a lover. It is a very passionate, a very strong and a very sensual type of energy. And those types of energies, it's not only related to let's say our sacral chakra, but it can also be related to our creative endeavors too. So this could mean, something of let's say a creative project at work. It could also mean a new passionate love coming into our lives. One of the two. And it, depending on who you are, if you're not looking for a relationship, then it will most likely lean towards that that creative passion project in work. It's and if you are looking for a relationship, then it would be something that could possibly lead to marriage. I'm getting kind of a split on that. It could be either of it, and especially with the star influencing that, which is also the energy of Aquarius. It really also has to deal too with the community at large as well. So not only lots of abundance and hope, but also lots of drive and passion. And all of this is coming to us in spirit. And it's a very uplifting and a very positive image for anyone, really, depending on what you're looking for. This could also mean a new life, which is restoring, let's say, an old relationship. Maybe you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship where the passion could have somewhat fizzled out, or people just became too comfortable and familiar with each other. And this is also suggesting that with those energies coming in from spirit, it could bring new life into that. It could bring restored passion. It could bring a restored libido. If we were to look at Jungian psychology, the libido is not only our sex drive, but it is also, again, our creative energies. So lots going on here, and all of it is very good, regardless of whatever your perspective is, regardless of whatever you are looking to manifest in your life. It is a very, very uplifting and very positive start to this reading. Very, very interesting, especially with some of the readings we've been getting, especially last year. It's amazing how these cards reflect. They really do reflect what is happening in the energies around us. Okay, let's move on to the next element, which is the element of fire, and it represents our drives, ambitions, desires, and those types of matters. It's represented by the wand, which is a very focused energy. It's a very directed, very focused, because it's our drives and ambitions. We need to be focused to be able to apply ourselves. Okay, love, so what is influencing the element of fire? All right. Very curious. The inverted moon. So this, I'm getting the feeling that, we're having a lot of things being brought to light. We're having a lot of things that are manifesting, hidden things, hidden drives, hidden desires, hidden ambitions, which are now surfacing. The moon is really all about illuminating those deep dark crevices which we have either ignored, or which we have either buried or repressed. And the inverted moon really is about the illumination of that darkness. And so as the energy of the stars being fulfilled, what we're going to be finding is we're going to be learning a lot about our drives, ambitions, and desires. The things which we have, which again, we have probably suppressed to ourselves. We're going to be learning a lot about ourselves. And it's nothing to fear. It's actually a very good sense of cleansing, a very good sense of really helping to understand ourselves. Because, when we're on a mission, and when we're manifesting, and when we're living our highest and best lives, there is going to be a lot of growth. We are going to learn those things about ourselves, which we may probably have never had any perspective on before. And so, there's really nothing to fear about it. It's really about the overall message of spirit. All these elements eventually go back to the element of spirit. And with that star card guiding the element of spirit, we are really in a state of hope. And so whatever is happening, even though we may have, hidden desires, we may have hidden drives and ambitions, whatever is happening, it's for our highest and best. It's for our benefit, and it's for our own growth. So just kick back and enjoy the ride, because ultimately that star card is really going to catapult us into new levels of our being and of our awareness. So nothing to fear whatsoever. Okay, let's see, what do the astrology die have to say to that? Mars again in Taurus again in the 7th house. Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. Let's re-roll for the decking. If it's a set, oh my god, it's a 7 again. Okay. You heard me call 7 before it came out. Or about to call 7. Okay. Wow. Okay, so we got this conjunction here between spirit and fire. And it's both Mars. Okay. Both Mars and Taurus, both that middle decan of Taurus and Libra. Wow. Wow. So again, just like I said with everything regarding the star card, it also applies to the element of fire. I mean, man, those two Mars placements, and both in Taurus, it's really about these. It's really about the, igniting our passions. It's really about, having that zest for life again, that fervor for life again, really getting excited for life again. And the fact that they're in conjunction only means that, they are greater than the sum of their parts. And so whatever is going to be revealed to us is only going to fuel the energy and the power of the star in the first place. And again, it could be a relationship, it could be a long-term relationship, or it could even be something at work. So work or relationships, either of those can suffice. In fact, it could even be both. We could just be entering into our golden era of us being us. I mean, again, we're going into the year of the fire horse, and with that Mars energy for both of those planets representing that, we have a lot of fire, and of course the element of fire. We have a lot of fire in this reading so far. Lots of passion, lots of drives and ambitions, and yeah, that conjunction, man, that is absolutely something. So it's almost like because there is so much fire energy happening, that it's what's causing this moon to be illuminated. It's what's causing any type of hidden drives or passions to be illuminated. That's really what I'm getting from it. And wow, this is very powerful. It's almost like we're unstoppable right now. It's almost like anything is possible, and that, you know, we have the ability to do what we have to do. It's like all the stops have been bowled out, and now it is time to truly embrace who we are. Let's see. Yeah, quite powerful. Okay, let's move along. So the next element is the element of air, which is represented by the sword. And the element of air can represent our intellectual and our communicative endeavors. And yeah, let's see. I'm very curious. This is a very exciting reading. It's been a while since I really got jazzed up about a reading like this. It seems like in so many of these readings, it's like maybe it started out good, but then of course, you know, something happened where, you know, we needed to still learn some lessons or something or whatever. But this, it's almost like it's like the dam is burst, and now, you know, we're just in full manifestation mode, I guess you can say. All right. Okay. Let's see, what's influencing the element of air? Aha, the inverted Queen of Cups. So now this is the first sort of lesson which is coming to us. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon, but it's all good. It's all good. So perhaps what I'm getting for this, so that inverted Queen of Cups, you know, I should say in the upright position, you know, she's really about this loving energy, this very nurturing, loving energy. And in the inverted position, you know, we're looking at someone who's a bit flighty, who is a bit fickle. And with that being in our element of air, it could mean that, yeah, I'm getting the feeling that perhaps we're not communicating what we need to communicate, and we are not, maybe our mind could be a little bit scattered. And that's okay, because after coming out of last year, and again, this is a timeless collective reading, so whenever it finds you, it finds you, but as of this recording, after coming out of last year, you know, maybe there are still some things which we still need to address. And one of those can be in our thought processes. One of those could be in our communicative process, our process of communication. And so we may find that we could be a little bit scatterbrained in that particular endeavor. And if that's the case, you know, it just takes a moment to reflect, to meditate, you know, concentrate on that energy of the conjunction to really strengthen that inverted Queen of Cups energy. It's almost like, because maybe things haven't been going our way for a while, that it's like we can't believe that the good times are here. You know, we're still a little bit on guard. We're still a little bit hesitant to really step into our own. And again, that's okay, because, you know, sometimes these things take time, and really, again, when it comes to our communication, when it comes to our intellectual pursuits, it's really about saying what we need to say, and it's really about gaining clarity in the mind. That seems to be the theme for the element of air, gaining clarity and saying what we need to say. So, what advice or likely outcome does the astrology die have to say to that? All right, we have Mercury in Gemini in the second house. A lot of Tauran energy, a lot of mercurial energy and air energy. So the good thing about Mercury in Gemini is that, oh, and let's re-roll for the decan. Okay, 6. All right, so we're in that middle decan. Okay, so the good thing about Mercury in Gemini is that Mercury likes to be in Gemini. It's let's see, it's either exalted or a dignity. I believe it's a dignity, actually. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. But either way, whether it's exalted or whether it's a dignity, I believe it's a dignity. It's a very, very fortuitous placement. It means that the likely outcome of us succeeding in dealing with this inverted Queen of Cups is going to be very, very successful, because we have the power of Mercury in Gemini for that. We have, and it's a lot of air energy, which is going to be reinforcing and adding that clarity. It's a lot of air energy which is going to be cleared up and allow us to say what we need to say. So we're going to be gaining a lot of strength from this. We're going to be gaining a lot of insights into why we may feel emotionally we may feel emotionally a bit kind of losing the words a little bit. We may find the reasons of why we are still at an emotional unease. And so yeah, there's a lot of support coming in through here. And also with that middle decan of Gemini, we are so that's a Nine of Swords energy. That's the Nightmare card. That is the Lord of despair and cruelty. And basically the lesson of that card is that we create those scenarios in our head. We create the confusion and the chaos by ourselves. It's not an external factor, it's an internal factor which has been doing it. And that, of course, would suggest, would lean into the reason of why we have that inverted Queen of Cups. The fact that it's in Taurus, or I should say the second house, which has to deal with our material possessions, is, perhaps we're at this point to where maybe the reason why we feel a bit fickle in our emotions is because, material-wise, we could still be going through a bit of, let's say, hardship, a little bit of financial hardship. Maybe we were hit with unexpected bills. Maybe we were, there was some kind of unexpected accident or something that happened. And so, on this sort of emotional level with the inverted Queen of Cups, we're still a bit frazzled from that. And of course, whenever anyone is under any type of material stress, it's very easy to have those insecure emotions pop up. It's very easy to begin to doubt ourselves, to second guess ourselves, all those kind of things begin to pop up, and it's very easy to lose ourselves in that Nine of Swords energy that is also being represented. But again, we have Mercury there, which is influencing the whole show, and with that dignity placement, like I said, we have a lot of support, we have a lot of energy and a lot of understanding, which could really help us get through this. Okay, excellent. Let's move right along to the element of Earth, which is represented by the Pentacle. Pentacle represents our material and spiritual acquisitions. the knowledge which we have attained, the wealth which we have attained, the solid ground that we stand on, and the ability to manifest those elements on the material plane. Okay, so what is influencing the element of earth, love? Alright, inverted Four of Swords. So, yeah. What we're experiencing is a time to step back into action. What we are experiencing is a time to mobilize again. We've been in contemplation mode enough. We have been in a state in which we have learned the lessons. We have acquired all this knowledge. Maybe we've even been able to save up a little bit of money or whatever. But now it is time to spring forward. It is time to apply those lessons that we've learned. And my guess is that in applying it and being active again, it'll probably help to really clear up this doubt that we're experiencing with the Queen of Cups. So yeah, Earth is also a very slow moving energy, so we may be a little bit hesitant to go back into action, but you know, now we're being called. So perhaps with all this drive happening and this new creative energy happening, this energy of the conjunction will really help to facilitate not only being able to go back into action, but also to clear up our doubts and to clear up our shifting emotions over that as well. All right, let's see. What do the astrology die have to say to that? So we have the North Node in Virgo in the first house. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's move this over here. North Node, Virgo, first house. And let's re-roll for the decan. Okay, so we have 8, which is... Okay. So we got that middle decan of Virgo. Alright. Middle decan of Virgo, first house, being sprung back into action. Yeah. So the middle decan of Virgo is that Nine of Pentacles energy. And this... Yeah, as I was saying before, perhaps, or not perhaps, we have learned the lessons. We have, and perhaps we've even were able to stash away a little bit of money. But that Nine of Pentacles energy is really about that independence, that financial freedom, the ability. It's the Lord of Material Gain. It's the ability to basically, it's sort of the energy of being self-made, and it is the energy of being able to do what you have to do. And yeah, as we step back into action, we're really going to be coming into our North Node. I think it's really interesting that it's also in the first house, which is ruled by Aries. I knocked this over real quick. I think it was a 7 or an 8 or something. Maybe it was an 8. Anyways, so it's really about self-reliance. It's really about stepping into our true nature as an individual. It's represented not only in the first house of Aries, but it's also represented in the Nine of Pentacles energy in Virgo, and also this North Node. So as we go back into action, we are stepping into our North Node. We are stepping into who we are destined to be. Not who we were in our past or any of that kind of stuff, but who we need to be for ourselves right now. And yeah, I really like this energy so far. And this could even add to some of the confusion with the element of air. It could almost be like, we have all this stuff which is going so good for us that we could be second guessing ourselves and saying, well, wait a minute. Things haven't been going good for me for a while, so why should they go good for me now? But really, with so much of the rest of the reading, we really need to take that into consideration. Take into consideration the fact that we do have all this coming to us. And it's like when we go, let's say, surfing or something like that. You're planning your sets, you got the timing going, you see that wave coming in, you got to take that wave, and this is essentially that wave coming in. So whatever doubts or insecurities that we may have, it's time to just let that go, figure it out, which of course we have all this help coming from Mercury and Gemini, and to really spring into action. It's our destiny. It's our north node that we got to jump into. And yeah, it's really what we need to do anyways. So very encouraging reading. Yeah, really excited about it still. All right, let's go to the last element, which is the element of water, represented by the cups. It can represent our intuition, our emotions, and yeah, let's see what's happening in the element of water. Okay, so we got the inverted Knight of Wands. Yeah. It would make sense because the Queen of Cups is also, about those emotions, and in water we sort of have another inverted card as well. So on an emotional level, we do have some things to kind of clear up a little bit. That inverted Knight of Wands could definitely mean some type of impatience which is happening. On one hand, we're kind of experiencing these doubts and these disbeliefs within the element of air, but also on the other hand, we just want to get it over with. We want on an emotional level, we're emotionally drained, we're emotionally exhausted from everything that we've been through, and it's kind of like okay, I'm done with this. Can we just move on? Can we just get this going? Because I want my moment in the sun, so to speak. And so yeah, it's on an emotional level between the Queen of Cups and the inverted Knight of Wands influencing the water. Again, like I said earlier, there still is a little bit of work to do on that. But again, with the rest of the reading, it's really just about trusting what the rest of the reading has to say, because we got so much coming for us and so much good coming our way. All right, let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. Yeah, I'm gonna re-roll that. It's kind of crooked. Oh, still a 9. Okay, I guess it was meant to be. So we have Pluto in Capricorn in the 9th house. All right, let's move this out of the way. And let's re-roll for the decan. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So we got that third decan of Capricorn, the Lord of Earthly Power. It's that 4 of Pentacles energy. It's sort of, not necessarily being miserly and greedy. It's just more like it's maybe being a little bit uncomfortable to branch out because we have had to fight for everything that we've earned. And that makes a lot of sense, especially with that inverted Knight of Wands. So pretty much on an emotional level, we're experiencing this impatient, but also at the same time, we're a bit reluctant. And with it being in that 9th house, which is ruled by Jupiter, that is how we expand. That is how we, let's say, broaden our horizons. The 9th house is all about travel. It's about higher education. It's about, creating those opportunities for ourselves. And emotionally, we have this reservoir of energy, which is both, I should say, impatient, but also a bit afraid to take the initiative. It's almost like on an emotional level, we don't quite want to take that plunge as much as we want to as well. And with Pluto influencing that, it suggests that, what needs to happen is a dramatic change. It's a dramatic transformation. Something which brings us out of that stasis that we've been in on an emotional level. Something has to give. Like I said, we have impatience on one end, we have stasis on the other end, and one of those things need to give so that we can spring back into action. I would say that, in all of these readings, one element is generally sort of the catalyst to unlock the rest of it. And actually, here, let me take this out too. And definitely with this inverted 4 of Swords calling us back into action, it would suggest that, it's the Pentacles which needs to spring back into action. Because again, we have all this energy coming in from both spirit and fire, and it's like this floodgate which is opening. So much passion, so much drive, and like I said, we want to be able to ride that wave. So pretty much whatever is happening to us on this emotional level, it's going to be bust open. It's going to transform. It's at this point, it's inevitable. Pluto influencing that is definitely going to make sure that whatever we were feeling before, it's that it is going to transform us. And let's see. And like I said, it's inevitable. So any of these doubts, any of this impatience, whatever is happening, once that emotional transformation does happen, we're going to feel so much better about things. And also our communication and our element of air and our intellectual endeavors, we're also going to clarify that. We're going to be cleared up in that aspect as well. Okay, so speaking of aspects, let's see what we have here. So we did have this conjunction. That was the most obvious one right now. And that suggests, as conjunctions normally suggest, it's something greater than the sum of their parts. They sort of operate in this symbiotic harmony which allows us to really put these in fruition. And the fact that it's both Mars and Taurus in a perfect conjunction means that spirit and fire are really working together on this. So again, that is all this hope and all this goodness coming to us, and it is also illuminating any of our hidden drives and ambitions and desires. It's really shedding light onto our own motivations too. Okay, so we got the conjunction there. Let's see. No. Okay, we have, let's see. We almost had a trine there, but not quite. And let's see. Okay. So we have an inconjunct air element to the spirit and fire. Yeah, that actually makes sense, because here we have all this energy, which is basically passion, drive, ambition, working in conjunction, hope, all of this stuff. And yet, when it comes to the element of air, when it comes to our communication, when it comes to our intellectual pursuits, we're still feeling a little bit doubtful of ourselves. And again, it's also influenced by that middle decan of Gemini, which is, basically the nightmare card. It's the woman who is sitting up in her bed at night. So yeah, it would make sense that that energy would be in conjunct with this energy, because here's a message of hope, here's a message of, past despair, a message of doubt. And so really we have this friction which is happening between these two energies, and the inconjunct nature of it makes it a little bit, it amplifies that a little bit more. But I would say concentrate on the positive aspects of what it's trying to tell us. Here we have Mercury in Gemini, and of course with it being its dignity, we have a lot of help, which is acting on our behalf. And here we have the conjunction, so it's like, like I said earlier, it's just a sort of symbiotic harmony which is happening between the two. So it still suggests an inevitable release of this inverted Queen of Cups energy. And okay, what I think is also interesting too is we have the Pentacles in opposition to spirit and fire. Now, oppositions are not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, many times when people become best friends or things of that nature, it's usually when people have signs in opposition to one another. So an Aries and a Libra will generally be good friends. Or let's say Capricorn and Cancer, all of those opposition signs, they're so, it's the saying opposites attract. And what I think is really interesting about this is because, the Four of Swords is saying, okay, it's time to spring back into action. And here in Fire and Spirit, it's also saying there's great action upon us. So we also have this opposition, which is really working to manifest all of this stuff. And even in this inconjunct air element right here to those two, we still have a lot of positivity and positive aspects, which is kind of bringing that out too. And again, all of this is going to cause this Plutonian transformation in our element of water. So I would say that the catalyst in this whole reading has to deal with this opposition. We're being called into action, and we have all this wonderful energy coming into us. And so yeah, once we start to see the results of this, it'll help to cleanse our doubts. It'll help to free our emotions up. And yeah, still, we have these three elements which are really working in tandem with each other, and it's a real powerful message. It's almost like these two almost don't even matter, because again, once these three elements go, once that opposition is coming to fruition, none of this matters. I mean, this will be self-explanatory, and it just doesn't, like I said, it just doesn't even matter. Let's see. Okay, so I think I'm going to take this to the extended reading. where I'll be using some oracle decks to get some further clarification. If you're interested in seeing that, then head on over to my Discord, and it will be in the council members section. And again, like I said earlier, if you've resonated with this message, then feel free to leave a like, subscribe, or a comment. And if you are a new viewer, or a viewer who has been with us and has been interacting with this content as well, you have my thanks. So, excellent reading overall. Okay, so once again, thank you all, and may Hecate illuminate your path and guide you at the crossroads.